Adrift! Adrift is a survivor/disaster movie that stars Shailene Woodley and Sam Claflin and is based loosely on a true story. Apparently it's based on a story about this young couple that went wading out into the Pacific Ocean on a boat and they ran smack dab into a hurricane. After the hurricane capsizes their boat, they have to find a way to survive for 41 days adrift on this ship with no radio. This film was directed by Balthazar You guys remember Michael Clark Duncan's character from Scorpion King? Balthazar? Yeah, it's directed by that dude. Like I said, this is a disaster/survivor movie, and there's always a risk and a reward to films like that, especially if they're based on a true story. It could be a very rewarding experience. You could get to see a story that you've never seen before brought to life on the big screen in a way that makes it feel like a story worth investing in. It could also feel very paint by the numbers. It could feel like a story that's going through the motions. It could feel like one of those Wikipedia page movies. You guys know what a Wikipedia page movie is. A Wikipedia page movie is a movie that basically the information for the story used to make the movie could be found on Wikipedia, and the story on Wikipedia is more interesting than the story as they brought it to life in the movie. So really, Adrift is in a sink or swim kind of proposition here. The one thing in the film that definitely does not sink is Shailene Woodley. Shailene Woodley was incredible in this film, and I don't use that word lightly. She carried this entire movie on her shoulders. She's that one thing that kept the movie adrift. Oh, God, it's so stupid. Shailene Woodley is one of those actresses from the last few years that even if the movie she's in is garbage, I always walk away from the movie going, damn, she was actually pretty good in the movie. You know, she's got talent. If she was given a better movie, she could really shine. Her character has a lot of life to her. Her character is kind of a free spirit, and you really do feel that in every scene that she's in. She brings that necessary energy and that vitality to a otherwise very dreary and depressing story about a couple being lost at sea and trying to survive. I'll also say that the movie looks really good. It is competently directed and well shot. The cinematography is pretty good. In particular, the scenes that were shot underwater. That is some beautiful stuff right there. Unfortunately, the rest of this movie is fucking boring. The big selling point of this movie, the one thing that it is trying to get you hooked on, is the romance between Shailene Woodley's character and Sam Claflin's character. And Shailene Woodley, like I said, is trying. She's giving it her all. Sam Claflin, I feel like he was kind of collecting a paycheck here. The biggest problem with basing most of this movie around their relationship is the fact that I don't really feel invested in their relationship by the time the movie's over. They just feel like their relationship in general has no passion, no spark, no chemistry. So the scenes where they try to get you to feel invested or where you actually feel like they're in love, you don't really give a shit. In fact, those are some of the more boring scenes of the entire film. But the film in general is boring because of the way it's structured. I hate the way that this movie is structured. The film makes a curious choice by trying to have you start off after the accident happens, after the big hurricane and after the big capsizing. And then the rest of the movie is a series of flashbacks that go back and forth between the accident and between her meeting him for the first time and then them falling in love and then a whole bunch of other boring shit. Pretty much the entire movie you're going from survival, happiness, survival, happiness, survival, happiness. Problem is, I just didn't really feel that invested in the happiness parts of the movie. Those are the least interesting aspects. The more interesting aspects of this film is finding out how they survived at sea for so long. But just when you're starting to feel like you're kind of sort of invested in that story, they go back to another flashback and they have you focusing on other shit that, to be honest, after you've already seen where the accident ends up, you don't really care that much about. This makes the pacing in the film feel very clunky and feel very spotty. And as a result, you just find yourself checking your watch every half minute because when Shailene Woodley is not acting her ass off, there's really nothing that this movie does for you. In the end, this is not a bad movie. It's definitely a watchable movie and definitely an incredible true story, if it actually is true. A couple of good shots of good cinematography underwater is not enough to make up for the fact that this is a very average film. So I find Adrift floating adrift in the Fortress of Solitude, the place I put average movies. Alright guys, that's my review for Adrift. Stay tuned. I've got a lot of reviews and a lot of other content coming to the channel, especially this week. Big stuff happening. You don't want to miss any of that. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.